I am embarrassed, ashamed, and deeply, deeply sorry.
A man who once came very close to being Maine's governor is now a convicted criminal, admitting to possessing one of the largest caches of images of children being sexually abused that state police say they have ever seen. Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Yukono.
And I'm Amanda Hill. Eliot Cutler worked all his life to make a name for himself, whether in a courtroom as a lawyer or as an advisor to a U.S. senator and to a former president. Beginning today, he has one more title, convicted sex offender.
Cutler pleaded guilty today to 4 counts of having sexually explicit material of a child under the age of 12, but each of those counts involved thousands of images and videos. In fact, investigators found more than 83,000 of them on computers Cutler had at his homes in Portland and in the Hancock County town of Brooklyn.
And it was in a Hancock County courtroom today that Cutler admitted his guilt and apologized to those who know him and to the nameless victims who will never hear his words. News Center Maine's Sam Olson was in that courtroom in Ellsworth. She has more on what Cutler had to say for himself. Sam?
Hi, Brian and Amanda. Eliot Cutler stood in the courtroom today and admitted his guilt. In his words to the judge, his voice breaking occasionally, he said he was ashamed of what he did and apologized to his family, friends, and community for letting them down. He also apologized to the children in those videos. Cutler cited his addiction to pornography and said he is embarrassed, ashamed, and deeply, deeply sorry. The prosecuting attorney was in favor of the plea agreement because he says it would have been 3 years before a trial for this case would have began. Cutler's age and his level of cooperation with authorities also played a factor in the sentencing decision.
This crime is not all of who I am, nor all of who I have been and will be. I will devote the rest of my years to making amends as best I can.
Commentary from folks in the public that are enraged by the conduct, but unfortunately we just can't jump to a maximum sentence in these types of situations. The court outlined the 3-step process. We're bound by that. So we attempted to arrive at an appropriate sentence based on historical cases.
Prosecutor Robert Granger says the 9 months Cutler will serve is longer than the average of 6 months for similar cases that other people have to serve. Cutler is currently free on bail, but he has restrictions for accessing the internet, and he must report to Hancock County Jail on June 1st. Brian, Amanda?
Sam Olson live for us tracking the story today. Sam, thank you.